Anyone who's ever been in a relationship understands that there are times that are amazing, and there are also times when you and your partner might not see eye to eye on things. But what happens when there are patterns in the relationship that actually increase conflict and decrease feelings of satisfaction? Today I want to talk about 5 relationship patterns that increase conflict and how to help improve these to also improve the connection in your relationship. So number 1 is ongoing trust concerns. Sometimes in relationships, one or both people, there may be an ongoing fear of betrayal or a partner crossing boundaries with others. Now, this may have been caused by something that happened in the past within the relationship. It may have been caused by, let's say, an infidelity. It could be just a personal insecurity of one of the partners based on their own experiences, or even differences in acceptable boundaries related to communication and behavior with other people can also spark trust concerns. Now, this can look like questioning your partner's activities, monitoring their calls and social media, or even just looking for clues that your partner is untrustworthy. So this definitely is a barrier to connection. So number 2 relationship pattern that can increase conflict is feeling unseen or misunderstood by your partner, especially when it's continuously happening. Now, this may look like maybe your thoughts and feelings feel like they're being dismissed when you bring up a concern, or maybe they're just not considered by your partner as important. It may also look like being criticized or made to feel wrong for differences in, let's say, some of your opinions or thoughts about issues. And lack of attention related to needs or wants by your partner can also give this feeling of not being seen or understood. So number 3 relationship pattern that can really impact feeling close to your partner is if either partner feels disrespected. Now, of course, disrespect is fairly relative and can be different depending on who you ask. But some of the feelings of disrespect may have to do with a pattern of your personal boundaries being ignored, maybe by your partner or crossed, possibly a partner treating you like you're the enemy rather than like you're an actual teammate when navigating conflict, being blamed or criticized regularly by your partner. These are all things that can lead to feelings of disrespect. The 4th relationship pattern that can really make it difficult to feel satisfied in your relationship is personal insecurity. So a lot of times problems in relationships can stem from one or both partners feeling insecure about themselves. And this can show up as one person feeling unworthy of love and attention, which can prevent closeness. That one or both partners may personalize constructive feedback and view it as an attack on themselves or their personal qualities rather than an attempt to improve the relationship. One or both partners may avoid connection due to fear of that they're not good enough, which is fueled by feelings of insecurity. And sometimes one partner may put the other partner on a pedestal, which can also create an unbalance in the power dynamic within the relationship. So the 5th relationship pattern that can cause conflict is feeling emotionally unsafe. So emotional safety is the ability to feel like you can be vulnerable within a relationship and know and count on the other person to respond to you in a positive and consistent way to help increase your feelings of security and stability within the relationship, rather than when a partner, let's say, has a response that threatens the connection. This can happen with a response of anger or blame, or even if a partner just avoids issues altogether. So feeling emotionally unsafe might look like receiving a hostile or negative response from your partner. Let's say when you're expressing your concerns, or you're expressing your pain, or you're hurt over an issue. Feeling emotionally unsafe can also look like a partner being cold or distant by refusing to address issues when you express concerns about the relationship. So now that we've kind of gone through these 5 patterns that can make it hard to connect to your partner, I want to talk a little bit about how to navigate these challenges. So first, you really want to identify what the relationship pattern is that keeps coming up. And also figure out if the pattern represents an issue from the past, either for you or your partner. In other words, is it a reminder from something you've experienced before that is now being triggered in your current relationship? Or is it an actual problem that is recurring right now? And I'll give you an example. Let's say one of your relationship patterns is trust issues. Are there actual situations now that are valid concerns within your current relationship, or is it based on fear due to maybe being betrayed in a previous relationship? So that's something to look out for. Something else to consider when navigating these relationship patterns is to monitor and identify your response to these patterns. A lot of times the way that you respond to these can either help or worsen the problem. So you really want to identify whether what you're doing is working. So I'll just mention some of the common ways of responding to these that are not helpful and really are quite ineffective in building a relationship closeness. So the first is shutting down or going silent or even avoiding the issue altogether. Another one is if you have a tendency to argue, blame, or criticize your partner. Another coping area that does not work is self-blame. So in some cases, people are overly accountable and take on the blame for all of the relationship problems, which also isn't healthy. Are you bringing up multiple issues rather than focusing on one area to be addressed at a time? So it's important to really figure out if your response is helpful in the outcome that you want. So some other tips to help navigate negative relationship patterns is to communicate what you have noticed with your partner. So you want to let them know what you've been noticing, how it makes you feel, and that you would also like it to be addressed. And be specific. What are the ways or things that you need them to do differently to move forward in a better way? And then once you've done that, you really want to listen to your partner's feedback and ask for help in creating solutions to the relationship pattern, so that you both are kind of collaborating and it doesn't feel like one person is just responsible for everything. And finally, you're going to need to reassess the solutions that you come up with your partner as needed, because as people change, relationships change, and sometimes you have to go back in and figure out what might work now. So you want to monitor what does or does not work moving forward with the solutions that you've created. These are just some tips to help you be able to better identify relationship patterns that are making it difficult to connect with your partner, and ways that may help you navigate to move forward in a better way.